already in federal custody. It looks likely that at least a few of them are talking. Some of them have been released with large bonds attached to their release. And Giuliani at some point will have to engage in a calculus of whether he wants to save himself or whether he still believes he can rely on this president to keep him afloat.
Well, and to that point, Joyce, I also think we saw, when you talk about co-conspirators, Ambassador Sondland yesterday basically admitting he was a dupe. And we saw members of Congress come out and say on both sides, well, mostly on the Democratic side, saying that he was well-intentioned. He meant well, and that he was really just a stooge for Rudy Giuliani. So I guess this is perhaps the first domino, Joyce. Like, who else do you think follows that lead so publicly that serves the administration?
Sondland, I think, is at best a dupe. The timeline is not in his favor, Susan. By the time May 23rd, where he says he still doesn't know that Giuliani is engaging in shadow diplomacy over the president's desires to have an investigation, there's already been public reporting in the New York Times and a lot of controversy about Giuliani's travel. So whether or not his position that he's a dupe holds up or not, I think is anyone's question at this point in time. But now the players are divided into two groups, essentially. Into witnesses, we see these career employees at the State Department, perhaps at other agencies, who will come forward and testify about what they observed, what they knew, what they saw. And also we work in closer to this circle of people who at least arguably were part of, let's call it a conspiracy, but perhaps this effort to run a shadow diplomacy. And it will be the first few of those insiders to crack and break and testify that will be defining here, much like John Dean's testimony was during Watergate.
Rev, I'm seeing a little bit of a different show here. You and I know Trump pretty well, or used to know Trump pretty well. I don't think there's any chance Mick Mulvaney went out there on his own. I think Trump's bet is, okay, let them impeach me. I'm not going to get thrown out in the Senate. Oh, and by the way, when they impeach me, if I've set it up that this is a no big deal, keep moving on here. Oh, yeah, there was a quid pro quo. Oh, yeah, there was a quid pro quo. Oh, yeah, there was a quid pro quo. He's got the defense going into the general public in the election. That is his bet. I believe this is, once again, the same strategy. Yeah, Fifth Avenue, I shot someone. And so we're sitting here talking about how this strengthens the case for the impeachment in Congress. I'm going on the premise that he is playing a bigger, longer game. The ultimate transactional day trader is actually looking past this.
I think you could be right in terms of Trump logic, but Trump logic is not always logical. What he is missing is the public is different in terms of their attitude than they were when he made the statement about Fifth Avenue. The majority of the public is saying they want to see impeachment inquiry or his removal from office. When he said he would shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and people would still vote for him, people did not think he was going to be president. People did not think he'd throw the courage to the dogs. People did not think any number of things. Now they've seen him in office and they're seeing it differently. He is acting the same way. You're absolutely right, Donnie. He is dealing with Trump logic, but Trump logic is illogical to the majority of Americans right now.
We'll see.
Well, we just passed the 1,000-day mark of Trump's presidency, and the Washington Post's fact checker puts their latest tally of the president's lies at 13,435 as of October 9th. That's an average of 22 lies a day. Steve Ratner has charts on that. Can't believe we're at this point where we're doing charts on lies. Steve?
It's pretty incredible, Mika, and obviously we haven't actually, I don't think, said the word lie today, but much of what we've been talking about all morning are essentially lies. So let's take a look at what it looks like on a chart. So this is a basic chart of Trump's lies, 13,435 lies in 1,000 days. You can do the math. That's 13.4 a day. But what's interesting is how the pace is accelerated. It took him a year to get to his first 2,000 lies. It took him 8 months to get to his next 5,000 lies, and then it took him 7 months to get another 5,000 lies in. So the pace of lies has been rising very rapidly. If we then turn to what he's been, what has caused him to lie more, you can see that, again, he started out pretty slow, but then certain events caused him to bring his lie count up. The first was the border separation policies. That caused the jump in lies, as you can see. The second was the midterm elections. He did a huge amount of lying in October, right before the elections, which obviously didn't work out very well. The Mueller report got him going, and now Ukraine looks like it might well send him to his highest lie count per month so far. So what has he been lying about? What are his biggest lie issues? Let's take a look at the last chart, and you can see his biggest lie issue is the border construction. He has repeated that same lie 218 times. The Washington Post has something called a bottomless Pinocchio, when you lie about something 20 times. He's done that on 27 separate subjects. He's lied at least 20 times. And then you can see the other things here. The U.S. economy being the strongest ever, not true. The size of the trade deficit, not true. The size of the tax cut, not true. The billions from tariffs, not true. Yeah. And then the Ukrainian whistleblower, he wins an award for this, because this is the fastest he's gotten to 20 lies in his period of lying.
Steve, I have to ask you what everybody asks. These charts are incredible. What is the machine behind Ratner that gets you to these charts? Are there 47,000 elves? What?
Well, I think in many cases there are 47,000 elves. In this case, I have to give credit to the Washington Post, whose fact-checking department is amazing and has done this. But think about it again: 13 and a half lies a day, every day of his presidency.
The way you were able to attach.
That's only the ones you can count.
The way you were able to attach the lies to the issues is incredible.
Yes.
Steve Ratner proving he can chart anything. Joyce Vance and Dave Aaron.